गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Jnaneshwari Bhavartha Deepika, chapter 18, verse number 18, and we were looking at the 5 causes of the karma, and then it was told, he who has no egoistic feeling, whose understanding is not polluted, even if he were to slay these people, he slays not, nor is he bound by his action. This was talked about in the 17th verse with regards to a person who has no sense of doership. And even so, when they say, don't think that he is going out there to kill, it means that from where he is established, where there is no doership, from there, action as we know it, activity as we know it, who the individual, who the one who is identified with the body, who the one who thinks he is a doer. So, karta, karya, karma, all this is unavailable to the person who is established or who has dissolved his ego. And yes, last week I was telling you that it is not about realizing the self, it is about dissolving the mind. And mind is about aham and idam. And we have to find a way to dissolve this aham and idam. And the whole prakriya, the whole methodology, technology is only to bring this about, dissolution of the mind. So first, what is the process in that? First you reduce the idam till you feel you are extroverted, and when your attention comes on the I, by a little karma, when, as we said, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana and all that. So when your attention comes to the I, how to dissolve this I? How to dissolve this continuous interaction between the doer, the done, and the doing. So he who has transcended that, he who has dissolved that, for him there is no, even if he were to slay these people, he slays not, and because he is not bound by his actions, because these actions are only at the 5 causes level, at the prakriti level. And he has come to recognize that he is the pure consciousness. And last week we told you, either you are the identified consciousness or you are the independent consciousness. So which one are you? Are you the Gaunatma or Mithyatma or Mukhyatma? Gaunatma is father, mother, daughter, sister. Mithyatma is I am the body. And Mukhyatma is Aham Brahmasmi, I am the self. And that knowledge is without a thought. It's not a thought-free knowledge. You are is not a thought. You don't have to think to be. You are. Whether there is no thought or there is thought. In deep sleep also you are. In waking and dream also you are. So which one are you? Are you the waker, dreamer, sleeper, or are you the relative one, or are you the absolute one? Recognize, he who has recognized this, just as you do not have any regrets or any anxieties or expectations from the happenings in the dream, where you were a doer, where you were the dreamer, that dreamer became the doer of all actions in the dream world through the dream senses and dream faculties, the dream body. When you wake up, Does it matter what happened there? Nothing happens. Same way, when we wake up from this waking dream, meaning where is the dream going on? It is going on in the mind. And what is the dream that is going on in the mind? Not just the dream. Waking dream and deep sleep is also the dream of the mind. The waking also is the dream. This continuous flux of expression, manifestation and non-manifestation, we have to transcend that. And to transcend that, we have to be the non-doer. So even if this one point clicks, now what will be our approach in life? Wherever we go in life, be a non-doer. And yesterday I explained or mentioned something about it. What is that? If you are of the nature of Satchidananda, then express that Ananda through every action. Don't perform action to gain the Ananda, because that Ananda is not separate from you. It is not an object of experience. It is your nature. So once you accept that, फिर मस्ती आ जाएगी. Then whether you speak, whether you talk, whether you walk, or whether you cook, whether you work, whether you don't work, in everything, that expression, it will happen with inspiration. It will happen with joy. Not because you want something in return from it. It's just an expression of joy. Now we come to the 18th verse, and towards the end he said, in the 460th verse, the self is a mere witness and his essential nature is knowledge itself. It is Jnana Swarup. So how do you think that he gives his approval to the desire of activity? He cannot. From self's point of view, from Atmic point of view, there is no activity possible. There is no activity possible. Oh, then what about Bal Gangadhar Tilak writing about Karma Yoga from Gita? Entire Gita was written from Karma Yoga point of view, Karma point of view. Vinoba Bhave, he wrote the whole Gita from Karma point of view. Why? That was the need of that time. The country needed liberation. It needed to invoke the people from lethargy to act and get inspired. So that was the need. So have you come here to liberate your country, or you have come here to liberate yourself? So if you come to liberate yourself, then we need Karma Yoga. We cannot escape it, but understand what is its true nature. Understand whether you are the doer or you are not the doer, or the activity is self-propelled within those five causes. So self is, what is self? Who are you, the self? What is this Atma that I am? It is a mere witness of all the activity taking place in the waking and the dream experience and their absence in the deep sleep. I am a mere witness because I know every day these three come and go, isn't it? So if I am so we forget that we are the observer of these three. And in waking we have put all our eggs in the basket of waking, and we have taken this waking to be real. And we forget when we are moving around, when we are talking, when we are listening, when we are going about our business, we forget that we are the one who knows, who is the witness of waking, dream and deep sleep. You have to take that position in and through all activities. But we forget that, and we become the doer, we become the father, we become the mother. Just as a woman forgets she is a woman who's playing all the different roles within a family, because if she takes that role she will not react to any stimuli. But when she becomes a wife, she reacts to the husband. When she becomes a mother, she reacts or controls the child, and so on. See? So why there is this reaction? Because she has become someone. Who? The woman. So now take one step back. You are the self. Don't become the waker, don't become the dreamer, don't become the sleeper, don't become the meditator. Maintain yourself as the independent one. Then does it mean that I should not do anything? I should not listen, I should not do meditation, I should not do japa, I should not do chanting, this, that. No, do everything. But remember this part. Remember this part. If you remember this part, that you are the witness, then whatever activity is taking place, it will be automatically performed with joy. It will be not with joy, it will be an expression of joy. So how do you think that he gives his approval to the desire for activity? The activity which holds the people in its grip does not affect the self. It does not affect the self. As much as the husband, the wife or the daughter or the sister or the mother are an imagination in the mind of a woman, are imaginary expressions invoked by the woman, imagined by the woman in herself, so also the waker, the dreamer, the sleeper, the seer, hearer, toucher, feeler, knower, experiencer, all these are imaginary. They are not the real ones. There can be only one real. You cannot have two reals. If you say waker is real, then who is Atma? Unreal. Vivek is between Nitya and Anitya. So Atma is Nitya. And Waker comes and goes, so he has to be Anitya. Now observe your life. Is your life oriented towards Nitya, the Atma Vastu? Or is it taking the Anitya, which is the Waker, and taking it to be reality? It is conducting all the activities. See how much disservice we are doing to ourselves. So who is the Atman? Who is unaffected by any sort of activity in the waking or dream or absence of theirs in the deep sleep or in meditation. Therefore, he who had become one with the self does not become a prisoner of actions. And we saw in last class that even after dissolving the mind, having come to dissolving the ego, having come to know yourself, the activity continues, the body continues, and the activity at the body and mind level continue. For whom? For the other people who are observing the Mahatma. The consciousness in that body, it has discovered it is the infinite one. And it does not interfere in any activity at the body level. Whatever is the prarabdha, according to that, the body and the mind are functioning. Let it function. So activity is happening, but there is no owner of activity there. Because that Atma, when identified with the body, is called the doer. But now the doer has melted, dissolved. He has discovered he is the Atma. And by the force of prarabdha, the activity at the sensory level, organs of action, mind, thoughts, speech, etc. is going on. But there is no owner. This sentence which I just said, that we see in Mahatmas, they have clicked out of the identification with the body, but because of prarabdha, body is still continuing till it drops. This we cannot understand because it is not our experience. But this is how the Mahatmas live. Then what to do? Get there and find out if it is correct. Simple. At least that's an incentive. But the picture of false knowledge is painted on the canvas of ignorance as a result of the famous threefold cause. Huh? But the picture of false knowledge, what is that false knowledge? The waker, waking world, and the waking experience. That is the false knowledge. The seer, seen, and seeing. This is the false knowledge. This is not the true knowledge. Because I am seeing you, next moment this is gone, then I am seeing you as someone else. Knowledge is that which is permanent. Don't remember this part. Satchid Anand, existence, consciousness, bliss. Consciousness means knowledge. Existence, knowledge, and bliss is permanent, uninterrupted, homogeneous, continuous, unbroken. So what you are hearing from me is not knowledge. If it is not, while listening, if you are not able to be the witness, then it is only temporary knowledge. It will, you will have to listen to it again, or you will listen to it and you will forget it. Then what is the true knowledge? You are of the nature of true knowledge. The Atma is of the nature of true knowledge. But you have to see, we have said this many times before, but we keep forgetting. We keep forgetting. So here he says that where are we? Therefore, he who had become one with the self does not become prisoner of his actions, but the picture of self-knowledge is painted on the canvas of ignorance as a result of the famous threefold cause, what I told you, the Triputi. Then from here it continues. Then it says, here the sequence is different. We'll chant the mantra and then we'll take it from there. Jnanam Jneyam Parignyata, 18th verse. Jnanam Jneyam Parignyata, Trividha Karma Chodana, Trividha Karma Chodana, Karanam Karma Karteti, Karanam Karma Karteti, Trividha Karma Sangraha, Trividha Karma Sangraha. Jnanam Jneyam Parignyata, Trividha Karma Chodana, Karanam Karma Karteti, Trividha Karma Sangraha. The impulse to action is threefold: knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower, while the totality of action consists of the senses, the action, and the agent. 6 things are told here. And this is what he was suggesting in the 460th OV, that but the picture of false knowledge is painted on the canvas of ignorance as a result of the famous threefold cause. So there I told you it was Triputi. Now he continues. जे ज्ञान ज्ञाताज्ञेय हे जगाचे बीजत्रय, ते कर्माची निस्संदेह प्रवृत्ती जाण, आता ययाची गात्रया व्यक्ती वेगळा लिया, ऐके धनंजया करू रूप, तरी जीव सूर्यबिंबाचे रश्मीत श्रोत्रादिके पाचे, धावोनी विषय पद्माचे फोडिती मढ, किम जीव नृपाचे वारू उपलाणे, घेऊनी इंद्रियांची केकाणे, विषय देशींचे नागवणे आणि तजे, हे असो इह इंद्रियई राहाटे जे सुख दुःखे सी जीवा भेटे ते सुषुप्ति काली वो हटे जेथ ज्ञान. He says, for this triad of knower, knowledge, and the object of knowledge is the seed of, and without doubt, the impulse to action. What is the impulse to action? The triad. What is the triad? The knower, in other words, the doer, karta, or here we can let's see here when he says Neya, it is the Parignyata, the Gyata. Knowledge, Neya, and what is that? The object of knowledge, Jnanam, is the seed of knowledge. For any knowledge, thought knowledge for you in your mind, what you are listening now, you are listening to words, they are coming to you, you are the listener, words are the listened to, and there is listening happening, and that is producing, precipitating thoughts in your mind. And some knowledge, some understanding is taking place in you at this moment. For this triad of knower, knowledge, and the object of knowledge is the seed of, and without doubt, the impulse to action. This fellow, these three, this triad is the impulse to activity. Where are we? Impulse to action. Again, it's not said impulse to activity, it has been said impulse to action. Remember the difference between action and activity. Activity with ownership is called action. Activity is unselfish. Action is selfish, always. Karma is always selfish because there is a doer, and where there is a doer, there will be karma. There will be karma phal also. So he is prompting the activity because he wants a particular result. So karma is always selfish in nature. Karya, activity, is unselfish in nature because there is no karta. See, something to think about and implement it in your life. How do you implement? Listen without listening. Breathe without, just like you breathe without becoming the breather. You're breathing all the time. Are you saying, I'm the breather, I'm the breather, I'm the breather? You don't do that. You digest the food without becoming the digester. Isn't it happening? The heart is beating without becoming you, without you becoming the heart beater. The hair are growing without you becoming the hair grower. In that sense. So let activity take place. Get out of the way. Anyway, so here he says, but where are we? For this triad of knower, knowledge, and the object of knowledge is the seed of, and without doubt, the impulse to action. O winner of wealth, Dhananjaya, I shall now explain to you in clear terms the different forms of this triad. Now he's going to tell you, it's not going to, this is a new topic starting. Now the previous topic of the cause of karma activity is over, because just in the 59th and 459th and 460th OV, the karta, he became the witness, and once he became the witness, all story is over. Now to recognize how we fall into the trap of the triad, how we fall into the trap of becoming, what are the various possibilities that this triad expresses itself. That is the topic that is starting now. So, in other words, by whose impulse is the activity? It is the impulse of this triad. So here we saw the verse. Then he says, as the sun sends out its rays and causes the lilies to bloom, so the embodied self send out its organs of knowledge to enjoy the sense objects. See, this is the Ishwar Advayavad. He is not saying Ishwar is separate to Prakriti. He is saying just as the sun sends out his rays. Are the sun rays separate to the self, to the sun? Did you go out today? You saw the full moon? Beautiful. Moving very fast through the clouds. Ekdam. It must be from Usha's house, from the window only you can see in the front, on the top. Because in the where? It's in the east. From the east it is there, yeah. Beautiful. So, just as the sunlight is not separate to the sun, and it is the cause of blooming of the lilies, exactly the same way. Or whatever he says, let's see. So the embodied self send out its organs of knowledge to enjoy the sense objects. Now, what are organs of knowledge? Seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, isn't it? So, are these separate? Just like sunlight is not separate from the sun, we have been told, see, this is Ishwar Advayavad. Parama Shiva alone is Shiva and Shakti. And Shakti alone is the manifestation and unmanifestation which is not possible without the Shiva Tattva. And who is this Shakti? She is inseparable from the Shiva Tattva, isn't it? Inseparable. She is his potentiality. Unlike Adi Shankaracharya, who says, he doesn't, I'm not saying anything wrong about that, but there we are told neti neti, you are not the body, you are not the breath, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are the self. In Ishwar Advayavad, from the beginning itself, this position is taken that the entire is the expression of that self alone, of that Paramatma alone. And that's how Amrit Anubhav began. Shiva Shakti Samavesh. See, all we have to do is appreciate this. You don't have to, what do you call, don't try to remember it. Understand at this moment that this body, this mind, this, see, our problem, where it lies? Our problem lies in thinking that we are inside this body. We are so gross oriented, we have so much lost the plot of life that we think we were born, we think we will die, we think we are in this universe, we think we were not there before and will not be afterwards, we think we are inside the body. And the Ishwar Advayavad, the Kashmiri Shaivism, the Nath Sampradaya, to which Jnaneshwar Maharaj, all the Navanathas belong. What is their angle of approach? It is the Anvaya, Neti Neti Anvaya. Vyatirek and Anvaya. Vyatirek is separate everything, come to the self. Anvaya is expand the self to include everything. You understand? So this expand one to include everything, that is the position of Ishwar Advayavad. They begin from that everything is the expression of that one alone. It's not even included in one. It is the expression of one, and that is the truth. That is how it is. Every wave is an expression of the infinite waters, isn't it? Every ornament is the expression of the infinite gold. Every pot is the expression of infinite mud. So also, all the organs of knowledge are the expressions of that infinite self. If you want to understand from a Vedanta point of view, that self, that Paramatma alone is the nimitta upadan karan of the whole creation. Meaning, he is the creator of the creation and he is the material also of the whole creation. Now, as I was saying before, we think we are inside this body, but it is exactly opposite is the truth. The Pranmaya Kosh is more expansive than the Anmaya Kosh. Anmaya Kosh is the frozen consciousness, crystallized consciousness. So it has become inert. Like water is crystallized, it becomes an ice cube. This body is the ice cube. So the air that is coming in and going, is it not much larger? Its scope is more expansive than this physical body? It is. More expansive than the air is the mind. So, body, inside the body, the air is not. Body is because of the air is because of the mind. In fact, body and the senses and the air, everything is in the mind. But what do we think? Mind is inside, body is outside. Inverted vision. And therefore we are suffering. You have to correct this angle. And this angle will not get corrected unless we come to the true self. Till then it will not get corrected. Because if it is intellectual appreciation, you understand it, but your interaction is still the same, isn't it? And what is mind? What is Shakti with Shiva? She is the inseparable from the Shiva, isn't it? So what is mind and self? Mind is inseparable from the Atman. So what is this mind? If you take that language, Atman is the Shiva Tattva, mind is the Shakti Tattva. The potential and the potentiality, they are inseparable. And Shankaracharya gives definition, no? It tells somewhere that mind is nothing but consciousness with objectivity is called mind. So Paramashiva, when he becomes aware of his Shakti, then he is called Shiva. Then he is not Paramashiva, then he is Shiva with respect to Shakti. Then when Shakti becomes a bit agitated, then that same Shiva, because of the three waves, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Shakti takes the form of Brahmani and Lakshmi and Parvati. See? Is that not your case? Without the woman, can the man be husband? Huh? Then where are these roles of mother, daughter, sister? Are they real or are they imaginary? In your mind, you have accepted that role as real in your mind. Exactly the same way. That Shakti has become the Brahmani. With respect to Brahmani, the Paramashiva is called as Brahma. With reference to Lakshmi, he is called as Vishnu. With reference to Parvati, he is called as Shiva. And it goes on the journey. We have seen it sometime in Bhagavad, I think we've explained. So, as the sun sends out its rays and causes the lilies to bloom, so the embodied self sends out its organs of knowledge to enjoy the sense objects. Or as a king rides out on a horse without a saddle and brings in the loot by attacking other countries with weapons, so the endowed self enjoys the sensuous pleasure and pain brought in by the senses. Who are we talking about here? I don't know if he's talking about the self. Atman cannot enjoy. It must be the embodied self, the jiva. So it goes. So where does he go out? He goes out through the mind, through the senses, out into the world of objects, gets caught up, experiences, enjoys, or becomes miserable on account of it. For this, there is a beautiful story in our Bhagavad. It's called The City of Nine Gates. Have you heard of that story? So there's Avigyat and Puranjan. They were going. So just like I told you, in Kenopanishad, those Suparna, Sayuja, Sukhaya, two friends. One is the witness, and one is always pecking on something or the other on the fruits. Similarly, within us also there are two. One is the witness who knows every day waking, dream, sleep, come and go, and the other one who thinks, oh, I have to give lecture, otherwise, I have to have my satsang today. If I don't do, what will people think? I need my dose of scriptural drug. We are addicted. Huh? So this is the other one. So as they were going around, he sees down. They were going all over the world, and they come on the earth. And in the earth, in the Himalayas, he looks down. Oh, Shangri-La! Wow, beautiful place. And even as he was looking, suddenly from the palace, in the beautiful garden with rivers, rivulets, beautiful trees, fragrant flowers, a beautiful 15, 16-year-old girl with exquisite features. She comes out of the palace, and in front of her there is what do you call, a snake with the 5 hoods, and behind her there is a commander, and there is huge army, and they are walking. And the moment they pass over that kingdom, he looks down, and when he looks down, she also looks up, because the shadow falls down. Who is this fellow? And their eyes lock. The moment the eyes lock, love at first sight, and he falls. And before he knows, he is down. He tells his friend, "Hey, I'm going. You continue on your journey." And he comes down. He says, "I can't live without her. She is my soulmate. She is. This is what I've been looking for all my life." And he comes down, and he says, "I want to get married to you, my darling." She says, "Of course, I also want to get married to you very much. But there is one condition." What is that condition? She says, "As much as you love me, I also love you. But condition is, you will never ask me my age. You will never ask me why I am doing something. You will never question me." But he was so much in love. Problems only come afterwards. Initially, everything is all right. So he says, yes, no problem. And thousands of years pass. If she sits, he sits. If she laughs, he laughs. If she cries, he cries. If she goes to take bath, he also goes to take bath. If she goes to sleep, he goes to sleep. They were inseparable. Inseparable. And when after, you know, how long can you be with someone? After some time, it becomes mechanical. So one day he asked her name was Puranjani, and he was Puranjan. Pura means the city. He said, why, why don't you all go outside the walls of this city, of this palace or city? He said, never go there. You are forbidden. Acha, I am forbidden. Why? Now when someone is told, don't go, then the curiosity increases even more. Why not go? What is there? What is she hiding from me? And one day, after thousands of years, and eternal youth, he didn't get old, she didn't get old. She was continued to be 15, 16, he continued to be a young 18, 19, 21-year-old fellow. And they lived like that. But one day, after many years, when this love started waning away and curiosity of why I am not allowed to go out of the palace, out of these gates of the city, why do the security stop me from going? But now he has made friends with everyone. Thousands of years. They have also become familiar to him. And one day when she was sleeping at night, he quietly gets up, sneaks out of the gate and goes out, and he sees the most wonderful, fascinating, wondrous world outside, more beautiful than the city inside. And he goes a little bit outside, takes in the whole atmosphere, and before it's too late comes back again and goes to sleep with her. And this now becomes his new adventure. Every time he goes out, again comes back, again he goes out, again he comes back, again he goes out, again he comes back. And every time he goes out, he goes further and further away to explore more. But one day what happens? As he has gone out, there are tribals, the forces outside, which he had not seen, who were hiding. They were also waiting when the gates will open and we can enter into this palace. Like our Alauddin Khilji and Taimur Lang and all these Muhammad Ghazni, they were waiting how to get an entry into the Indian subcontinent. And what did they do when they came in? What did they do? They destroyed the people. They destroyed the human beings. They destroyed their culture. They destroyed the temples. They destroyed the books. Everything was destroyed. And these tribals who were not allowed to come in, who have been trying to come in because the doors were always locked from inside. Now, because this Puranjan has gone out of these doors, they have been trying, they have been observing that every time he is going longer and longer, and one day when he has gone, they wait, they see that he has gone very long, far away, they enter into the city and ransack, kill, loot, plunder everything inside the city. And when Puranjan comes back, what does he find? All the gates are open, not one. All the gates are open. All the soldiers are dead. And he calls out, Puranjani, my darling, where are you? Puranjani, Puranjani, Puranjani. And she's nowhere to be found. And then one place he goes and he sees an old, as if she is very, 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 very old, with all the skin hanging and white hair and teeth falling. She says, where did you? He says, Puranjan says, hey, where did you come from? She says, I am Puranjani. I told you not to open the doors of the palace or the city. Did you go out? And he repents because he has gone out of the city. Oi, put the audio off, whoever it is. And he repents, and in a feeble voice she says, I am in my last breaths. The reason I was young and you were young for so many thousands of years was because none of the gates were open. And you, in your curiosity, you asked me many times, how come we are so young all the time? But I told you what were the two rules. You will never ask my age and you will never go out of the city. I never answered you the first one, but you found a way to go out of the city. Now this is the result. That city of 9 gates is this body with the 9 holes. 10th one is closed, the fontanelle. See? And if you go out of this body, where? Through the senses, through your imaginations, through your curiosity, through your wanderings, through your bucket list, through your desires. When you give value to them, you will go out. There is no other way. It will take you out. And the more you indulge with the outside world, whether in mind or physically, the world comes in, the disease comes in, the bacteria comes in, the time comes in and creates a havoc inside. See, this is the story given in Bhagavad Mahapuran, and there what is it being what did they say? They took this body to be the city of 9 gates. Unlike given here. What is that they are saying? That the senses through which we are interacting with the world is nothing but an extension of the consciousness of the what does he say here? So the endowed self enjoys the sensuous pleasure and pain brought in by the senses. In short, he whose cognizance makes the embodied self experience pleasure and pain through the senses and vanishes in deep sleep. So whether we are in waking or... See, who is the doer, who is the experiencer, who is the listener? Meaning, if we take the word jnanam, neyam, parignyata. Parignyata is what is jnanam? Jnanam is knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of book, knowledge of table, knowledge of laptop, etc. Knowledge of something. What is Neyam? Neyam is knowledge of anything. Knowledge of anything. And Parignyata, the knower. Without the knower, how can knowledge take place? And these are the three. Jnanam, Neyam, Parignyata. And for whom is this? It is for this Parigyata, for the knower. The knower wants to know there was a full moon. Knower wants to know what happens if we look at the eclipse. Knower wants to know what will happen if I go and hug a person with coronavirus. Go and find out. Huh? What is happening? He is going out through the senses. Remember, Puranjan went out of the gates. You are also going out of the gates. Stay where you are. Our Swamiji has been taking some lectures, and in that I have also read it before, and that is Anand Mahima. If you check her out on the YouTube, a great saint. Her husband was her disciple. A very beautiful person, even in her features when she was young, stunning. But she did not know to give lectures. So her rule was only one. What is that? See, listen, and don't speak. Let the eyes see. Don't become the seer. Listen, don't become the listener. And don't open your mouth, meaning don't give your opinions for anything, because opinions will given, ideas will be given, options will be given only if you have become a seer and knower. No? Dekho, suno, bolo mat. And Akhandanandji, when he knew her for quite some time, and whenever he used to be around, people used to throng. She had an ashram in Kankhal, she had an ashram in Vrindavan, in Varanasi. People made it. She was always traveling. But wherever she was, people used to gather around her. And if Akhandanandji is there, she will say, all your questions he will answer. Because you can even listen to some lectures, her speech, but very incoherable. She was from Bengal. But Akhandanandji, Vedanti, very well versed in scriptures. Dekho, suno, bolo mat. Continuing, 466th verse. तया जीवानावज्ञाता आणि जे हे सांगितले आता तेची एथ पंडुसुता ज्ञान जाण जे अविद्येची पोटी उपजत खेवो किरीटी आपण याते वाटी तीही ठाई आपुलिये धावे पुढा घालूनी ज्ञेयाचा गुंडा उभारी मागिली कढा ज्ञातृत्वाते मग ज्ञातया ज्ञेया दोघा तो नांदणुकेचा वगा माझी झालेनी पैगा वाहे जेणे ठाकूनी ज्ञेयाची शिव पुरे जयाची धाव सकळ पदार्था नाव सूतसे जे तो नांदणुकेचा वगा. Okay, tongue twister. So he says, where in short, he whose cognizance means cognition means gathering of knowledge, observation, whatever, makes the embodied self experience. In short, he whose cognizance makes the embodied self experience pleasure and pain. Who experiences pleasure and pain? Who experiences sukha and dukkha? Is it the Atma or is it the Jivatma? It's the Jivatma, isn't it? It's the Karta. It's the doer. It is the knower. The one who has accepted that he is embodied. The one who has accepted that I am this body. For such a person is Sukha Dukkha, no? For the conditioned self, Sukha Dukkha is there. Who are you right now? If I continue lecture till 9:30, 10 o'clock, you will find out very quickly whether you are the Atma or are you the Jivatma. Swamiji, it's already 9:45. Tomorrow we have to go to work. Jivatma speaking. See, if you are the listener, you have become the Jivatma. If you are the seer, if you have become anyone, you are the Jivatma. And for this, and what is the nature of the Jivatma? Sukhi Dukhi. The Shad Urmis, comfort, heat and cold, hunger and thirst, Sukha Dukkha is for this Jivatma, the embodied. Embodied means that one who has accepted that I am the body. Atma does not accept that I am the body. Atma does not accept. Then the story in that Puranjan story, it continues. Then in next life he gets born again, and after 2 births then he gets back. He comes to realize that, Arey yaar, I have been going the wrong way. And the moment he thinks, then his friend, remember in the ship, in the aerial car, in the UFO, they were traveling over the city of 9 gates, that Avijnata, the one who was the witness, he comes in the form of a sadhu and he looks into his eyes. Don't you recognize me? Suddenly everything clicks to Puranjan in his 3rd birth after that. Because there, when he sees his Puranjani dead, he also dies. He gives up his life. He says, what's the point of me living now? So did he demand Avigyata? No. Avigyata came, graced. Because he was looking for a way out. That what is the truth of this life? Makes the embodied self, Jivatma is the embodied self, experience pleasure and pain through the senses and vanishes in deep sleep. So where do you experience Sukha Dukkha? In waking and dream. Right? Sukha Dukkha. And both the Sukha Dukkha are absent in deep sleep. Then what is happening in deep sleep? What is happening in deep sleep? You are one with your essential nature. Don't think stupidly that you are gone to sleep. You are one with your essential nature. The only thing is you don't know it. Who? Jivatma doesn't know it. But actually he has gone back to the essential nature. Pleasure and pain through the senses and vanishes in deep sleep is called the knower. And who is this fellow? Who is this Jnata, Pariknyata? He is called the knower. I was using the embodied self as the Jivatma, but Jivatma is now expressing as the knower. In general we are talking. We are not talking about one particular object. In general. He is the knower. Parignyata. In the verse it came. Jnanam Neyam Parignyata. Knower. While that which is said to be experienced is knowledge. What is experienced? Knowledge per se. Not knowledge. Let me see how they are explaining it. Is knowledge. Oh Arjuna, while that which is said to be experienced is knowledge, jnanam. So knowledge is always of something which is separate to you. Here we are talking from the relative knowledge we are talking about. We are not talking about the ultimate knowledge. We are talking, the topic here in this verse is going about is the Triputi. Jnanam, Neya and Parigyata or Gyata. So we are talking not about the absolute self, we are talking about the embodied self, and that embodied self is called here as the knower. And knower, naturally, if you are calling someone a knower, knower of who? Oh, of the known. What is that known? That is the object of knowledge, isn't it? You say, I am the wife. You can't be wife of nobody. You have to have someone, some person there whose wife you are saying, I am Mrs. So and so. Mrs. of whom? Oh, nobody. ऐसे थोड़ा ना होता है. I'm Mrs. of so and so. So knower of so and so. But in general, that which is said to be experienced, not a particular object, but in general, is knowledge. O Arjuna, this knowledge which is born of ignorance divides itself into three kinds. Now the three times. What are that? Karanam, karma, karta. Karteti. See? And this knowledge divides itself, which is born of ignorance. Triputi, the triad, the knower, known, knowing, seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing. This Triputi is born out of ignorance. It is not. So how are we gaining knowledge? Through this Triputi we are gaining knowledge. I am speaking. What am I speaking? I am speaking the word. The mouth is speaking the words. You are listening to the words. You are the listener. These words are the listened to, and the knowledge is taking place. So Triputi is there. Speaker, speaking and spoken to. Triputi is taking place. This Triputi is an expression of ignorance. It is expression of ignorance. And what does it do? What does this Triputi do? It divides itself into three kinds, and the knowledge plants in its runway a hurdle in the form of the knowable object and keeps the knower behind itself, thus building a bridge of communication between the knower and the object of knowledge. It makes them carry on their activities. What is this? This common knowledge, this general knowledge, this faculty of knowledge, what does it do? It keeps what did it say? It keeps form of knowable. It keeps the object and keeps the knower behind itself. So in between is the mind. On one side in the mind, on one polarity is the knower, and on one side is the object, and in between is the knowledge, isn't it? Knower, known, knowing is in the middle. So remember now, look, imagine, I can only tell you to imagine. Mind is one, but within the mind we are seeing subject and object, knower and known, jnata, neya, and in between is jnanam. Now that one alone has become the three. That one mind alone has become the three. Why it has become the three? Because of identification with the body as I, because of ignorance. Because that embodied, the Jivatma, who is not recognizing that he is the infinite one, he thinks I am this body. That very moment of identification, this mind comes about. This phenomena of mind comes about. Like a man going around, frolicking through life, happy for no reason, suddenly looks at a girl, gets identified, gets identification, marriage, and then he starts thinking, I am a husband, I have to do my duties, I have to have kids, who will light the fire of my chita? I have to have children, I have to do pujas, I have to do sanskaras, I have to do this, I have to earn wealth, I have to put my children through education. Why did you lose your freedom, bhaiya? Why did you get identified? Exactly that way. Why did Puranjan, who was happy with his soulmate Abhigyat, why did he get identified with Puranjani? Out of ignorance, because he stopped looking at him, he started looking at away from him. When we look away from ourselves, when we don't uddharet atmana atmanam, when we don't look at the self that we are, there's only other option, we look outwards, isn't it? It automatically happens. But it happens because we have accepted we are the body. And just as he suffered after many blissful years of childhood, then you have to go to school. I don't want to learn 2 1 2. Oh my God, 10th ka board exam, 12th board exam. Oh my God, now I've got to go to uni also. Like today's kids. Oh, I have to get up in the morning. Some of the kids who are staying with mom finished their uni now, and they are frustrated about what life holds for them in the future. They are frustrated about what life holds them for the future. They have come all the way. They have studied. But to allow this type of doubt to enter into your mind, that now I have to work. Okay, I don't want to get married, that's fine. But to survive, I have to work. Oh my God, how many years I have to work? As long as you live. Oh my God. They want to find an easy way out. Then realize. And that puts them into depression if it goes unchecked. Or suicide. Puranjan committed suicide. Puranjan committed suicide. He killed himself. Or he died in pain of the loss of his beloved. It's equal to suicide only. He was so identified. So you are now 24, 25, 28, 30 years old. Instead of living with an attitude of 100% inspiration, full tilt, 110%. Nothing is impossible. And you allow these doubts, they come to everyone. They came to us also. But you succumb to them, you think about them again and again and again, going the wrong way. Same way, this mind, this consciousness which is identified with the body, then alone mind is possible. If consciousness is not expressing through the body, then mind is not possible. The phenomena of mind is only possible where there is consciousness and matter. And then that mind, which is one, as if divides into three: Jnata, Gneyak, Jnanam. This is general knowledge. This is how the knower, known, and the knowing. Then that knower, known, knowing. So what are you knowing? Through the eyes, I know the colors and forms. Through the ears, I know the sounds. Through the nose, I know the smell. Through the tongue, I know the taste. Through the skin, I know the feeling. Isn't it? So then, when I'm seeing, then what do I become? What does the knower become? He becomes the seer. When he is using the faculty of that knower, when he is using the faculty of ears, then what does he become? He becomes the hearer. So that one, because I said Nyata, Jnanam, Neya and Nyata, these three are general. Thus building a bridge of communication between the knower and the object of knowledge. So knower, I am the knower, and object of knowledge seems to be far away, seems to be separate from the knower. This imagined separation, this imagined distance, this imagined difference between the knower and the object, this sense of otherness which is created between the knower and object is the result of identification. And what is that which connects the two, the knower and the known? What is that which connects the knower and the object of knowledge? The knowing, the mind. Because he only has become the three. He has only become the three. Aham, idam, and the instrument of knowledge in between. Aham is also mind, idam is also mind, and the faculties are also mind. Because body is in the mind is not in the body. Remember this. So it requires a reformatting of your mind now. That is what is happening studying Gita. And this Triputi, this three, the knower, the object of knowledge, and the knowing, this keeps the activity going again and again. Why? Because wherever there is a seer, wherever there is a hearer, wherever there is an experiencer, knower, you have become something, and when you have become something, you want to, if something is beautiful, you want to experience it again, you want to see it again, you want to listen to it again, you want to feel it again. And if it is something that you see, oh, it's ugly, then you don't want to see it again. The desire is there not to see it again. If it is beautiful, then there is a desire to see it again. And this way activity keeps going on and on and on and on, producing sukha dukkha, sukha dukkha, sukha dukkha, depending upon depending upon raga dvesh. It makes them carry on their activities. The knowledge comes to a halt as soon as it reaches the limit of knowable object and gives different names to the different objects. The knowledge comes to a halt as soon as it reaches the limit of knowable objects. So what is knowable object? Through your five senses. Now remember, I don't know how many of you were listening yesterday's lecture. The Agni Devata in Kenopanishad, Agni saw the Yaksha, Vayu saw the Yaksha. Indra goes, who is Indra? The Lord of the mind. When he goes, is he going with the faculties of sun, moon, nose, all the five senses? Is he going with the Jnanendriyas? No. Mind is going by itself. And when he goes, Yaksha vanishes. Right? So when mind goes to look for something and it is outside the scope of the organs of knowledge, out of the scope of jnanendriyas, then what does he do? Then he imagines. Now you hear in a certain frequency, you can see in a certain frequency, isn't it? How will be a chameleon with an octagonal eye? What will be its vision of the universe? It's out of your scope of understanding. Your eyes can never see an octagonal because you don't have an octagonal eye. You don't have the octagonal eye. So you will imagine, oh, it is like this, it is like that. This is what the archaeologists say or the scientists say. Oh, black hole, it's 30 light years away. Have they ever even calculated how far is 30 years? Their probes don't even go more than so many millions of kilometers. And they are talking about it is 30 light years away or 100 light years away, or that galaxy is that many 1,000 light years wide and 1,000 light years long. Only imagination. They have not had a direct experience because their faculties are incapable of cognizing it. Either you develop your faculties, expand, but as an individual, it is impossible. And that's what he is saying. For this individualized ego, the karta, what the seer can do, it cannot, the seer cannot be the hearer. Hearer cannot be the smeller. Smeller cannot be the anything else. The waker cannot be the dreamer. Dreamer cannot be the sleeper. Sleeper cannot be the meditator. Each one is only with its object of knowledge. Waker and waker's object of knowledge is waking world. And the instrument is the waking mind which is connecting the two. The waker to the waking world. Same is dreamer. Dreamer and the dream world is connected by the dream mind. You understand? You have to raise yourself out of this. Then you can see the whole Leela going on. Till then, we take it all to be so real. The knowledge comes to a halt as soon as it reaches the limits of knowable object and gives different names to the different objects. And this is exactly what Indra did not do. Indra did not use the five senses when he approached the Yaksha. And he did not imagine. Remember yesterday I told you? Then instead what did he do? He stayed there looking into the unknowable empty nothingness, emptiness, void, without expectation, with inspiration, with surrender, with curiosity. Oh, I shouldn't use the word curiosity, but with single pointed mind, without getting distracted, without wanting to go back. I don't think there is nothing there. No, he kept staying. He continued to be there without expectation. You have never seen God, but don't you go to the temple? You know it is a stone, but you pray to the God. Our problem is we have an expectation. Therefore, it doesn't click. Drop the expectation. Then you'll discover the God within. Then you don't have to go anywhere. Then Kailash is also within, Kashi is also within, Vrindavan is also within, Arunachala is also within. Why only these? The entire universe is within. It's inseparable from the self. Because where is the whole world? It's in the mind. And can mind, and what is mind? Mind with consciousness with thoughts is called mind. Consciousness without thoughts is mind. Without thoughts is consciousness, the truth, the reality, which you are every night when you go to sleep. So if you are remaining awake at night, don't get up in the morning and say, oh my God, I did not sleep the whole night. It was a blessing. Something happened and you remain awake. But because of your default position that I have to sleep only then I am refreshed. Why can't you? You think those people who are sitting in meditation and they are conscious of everything, they are not refreshed? Oh my God, I meditated for 3 hours, now I need to go to sleep. Arey Bekoof. Why do you sabotage your own self? Because of our default position, because nobody has taught us to look at it differently, or if it has been told, we have forgotten it. If naturally you are awake throughout the night without any effort, but mind is calm, fantastic. Every now and then the old thinking will click in. I have not slept. Why have I not slept? Tomorrow how will I function? I'll try to sleep. Don't put any efforts. Lie there like a log. Keep staring into the empty space. What's there? What's wrong? As you're relaxed, you're not making it happen, it's happening. Let it happen. Don't give it a name, sleeplessness. Don't give it a name, what I don't know, sleep apnea, or I don't know what all names. Don't take sleeping tablets that I didn't get sleep. All this is doing disservice to yourself. Instead, be a scientist, explore. What you see, hear, touch, feel is not the reality. What you see, hear, touch, feel, taste is not the reality. You are the reality. Waking, dream, deep sleep are only figments of imagination coming and going. They are not the reality. You are the reality. Self is the reality. That time ask when you are in sleep or going to sleep, who is the one who is awake? I am. अरे तेरी की वहीं पे पहुंच गया जहाँ जाना था. Without doing anything, I got there. Wow! Sit quietly, enjoy, be there. The knowledge comes to a halt as soon as it reaches the limit of the knowable object. Knowable object is only when you are accessing the object through the 5 senses. Whether they be gross or even in dream you are accessing the objects, isn't it? But they are subtle senses. But when we are talking about the words like infinite, nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Ekmeva Dvitiya, all these, I understand. What you understood? Nothing. Mind cannot understand. It comes to a standstill, provided you are able to remain with that thought, like Indra remained with single pointedness at that point, where Yaksha vanished. You also remain. They say infinite I am. I am, yeah, I am. Remain focused on I without any expectation, without any imagination, without any distraction, without any tiredness, with inspiration. Joyfully, playfully interact with yourself. Come to that point and stay. And you are coming to that point thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times every day. Again, you don't know it, just like in deep sleep, you didn't know you are one with the self. Between the two thoughts, there is emptiness, there is nothing to know. Truth is, you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you are not sleeping between the two thoughts. Are you sleeping right now? No. You are awake. There is no disturbance between the two thoughts. The words that I am coming, they are coming to you as thoughts. And if I stop for a second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, you also stop thinking because you are so focused. So for this 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And you are awake. And you know that there is no disturbance in the mind. Mind is empty. Indra Sthiti of Kenopanishad. How many times? Thousands of times during the day. But are you able to catch it? No. Why? Default settings. Expectation. Uncomfortableness. Without an object of knowledge, we become uncomfortable. Like someone was meditating and they said, "Oh, so called Swamiji." What happened? "Swamiji, I was meditating and I couldn't feel my body." I said, "Wow." But that became, they became fearful about it. I was sitting in the meditation and the body became very heavy and I was so, it becomes very light. They think something has possessed them or something. These things happen. But because they don't happen normally to you, it happened on the seat of meditation and then the mind starts imagining something wrong is taking place. This is not normal. It's out of the normal. So for you, keeping the mind silent and remaining awake is out of normal, because your normal is mind becomes quiet, you go to sleep. That is your default setting. But now mind is quiet and you are awake. Oh my God, what is this? Now I have to there's nothing. Then why sleep is not coming if there are no thoughts? Sabotage. Sabotage of what? Sabotage of your own realization. This is called suicide. This is called suicide. Atmahanan. In some place it comes. I don't know which text. You are killing yourself by wanting to interact with some object of knowledge. Because if you stay in that silence, if you stay in that emptiness, if you stay in that void for some time, you will fall back into yourself. Because you are awake. It will be natural that, hey, I know the empty, I am the one. How can there is nothing there? How can there be nothing? I am there. In the nothing also I am there. Who am I? Bang. There and then, without any efforts, it clicks. See? The knowledge comes to a halt as soon as it reaches the limit of the knowable object and gives different names to the different object. And when it is not quiet, either in sleep or in meditation, when there is no object of knowledge, then other times what it is doing? It is giving names to every different object. That's what they say, no? Gives different names to different objects. Space, air, fire, water, earth. These are different names. Mother, daughter, sister. These are different names of the same one, woman. Necklace, bracelet, ring, anklet are names of the same gold. Same, one. Infinite waves. And we see it with our eyes, but it is the same water. This is what the jiva does. This is what the knower does. We are good at giving names and calling names. So, पुरानी आदत है. Huh? This knowledge is undoubtedly the empirical knowledge. So, in deep sleep, the mind comes to a halt. I was telling you some other part before, but when there is no object of knowledge, the mind comes to a halt. Means it becomes standstill. Standstill does not mean that it has come to know the self. It just becomes standstill. It becomes stunned. It becomes quiet. And what is the other spectrum of it? When it comes out of that standstillness, it keeps giving names to different objects of knowledge. When you are experiencing this, you are having empirical knowledge. Empirical knowledge means knowledge of the world. And the knowledge of the world is through the five senses, or knowledge of the world is waking experience, dream experience, and deep sleep experience. This is empirical knowledge. Empirical knowledge is when you are identified with the body and consider the body to be I, and what is the knowledge of this I? The deep sleep is one where the mind becomes still, and waking and dream is the other spectrum where it gives names to different objects. You understand? We'll stop here. It's already time 4:70. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If we will sit quietly, but if the lockdown gets removed tomorrow night, then next Thursday we will have class at Samida's house. Okay? Hari Om.